So my name is Jill Shea, aka Farmer Jill, and I was a working farmer supervisor back in like 2012. I think it was a little over a year, which it feels like so much longer than that to me in my mind, but pretty sure it was about that long. Yeah. I was living out of state at the time, and I honestly couldn't remember how it originally came across my world other than just being in the farming community and knowing it existed in Mass where I was going to be moving. So, yeah, I'm a flower farmer now, and I live in Connecticut and run a farming collective amongst flower growers in the state of Connecticut. So, agriculture is still very much part of my life. So I was essentially Jean-Claude was the assistant director at that time, and I worked under him as sort of like one of the main farmers, maintaining the farm itself, but also working in after-school programs and working with young people on the farm, doing after-school programs, teaching them how to farm, and just sort of doing a little bit of everything on the farm, which I think everyone does there, but yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like I loved everything about being on the farm. I mean, there were always hard days, and it was funny, working with the teens, especially translating those tasks to something where it wasn't always like, we love being on the farm. So I feel like it was partially getting them to be as motivated to be into it on occasion. But there were a lot of students who really responded to the farm work and loved it too. So kind of balanced itself out. And I think a lot of young people found their place there. So that was always really rewarding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's nice to see that continue year on year. It was one of the things that when I started here 2 years ago, and I sort of got to grips with what the teamwork crew was, and I was like, this is amazing. Like watching these teams just kind of get on with it and organize themselves, and just yeah, it was very cool to see.
Yeah, they really care about it as a place. It's not just a farm job over the summer. I feel like it's something that they're a part of. I feel like other than just what's challenging about farming, which is everything, there was nothing that sticks out in my mind as something that was particularly like, earth shattering that we couldn't get through. I
Mm.
feel like there were always challenges that would come up, but things that we could manage and get through by the end of the day, kind of thing, or by the end of the month, maybe. Um, but in general, yeah, very resilient crew that I was around. Yeah, something that I really wanted to make sure I talked about today was the experience of lunchtime on the farm is something that will probably stay with me for the rest of my life. Just because, a farm day was really difficult to get through. Sometimes you'd be so tired by the time lunch rolled around. And when I was there, everyone just happened to be an amazing cook. Except for me, I was not good. But I still remember Trisha's hummus. I remember so many meals from that time, not just because everyone was great at cooking, but because it was just like this crucial time of the day where we all just sat together and ate together and talked. And that aspect of the community still stays with me and is something that was like nourishing on multiple levels. And I'll never forget that time together. Yeah, I think everything that I got from Natick made me realize that that was extremely important in my work environment in general, just that aspect of community. I wanted to always make sure that I was around people who cared about the planet, but cared about young people, cared about agriculture, and just cared about taking care of each other. And it was just an example of a place that could function really well because lots of minds fed it and took care of it. And I felt like it was one of the first places, workplaces specifically, where I witnessed that functioning so well. And it just made me really proud to go into work every day and made me really happy to be associated with it. Yeah, I was thinking about this question and I had a lot of answers to this question, but one that actually came to me while I was waiting was I remember we went sugaring one day and we went out to collect sap. And at the time, I had like an old flip phone. That was still what I was using. And I lost it in the snow when we were syruping because you're always carrying big buckets and have all these crazy things. And I dropped it, lost it, couldn't find it. And then a few days later, we went back to that site and I found the phone in the snow next to one of the sap buckets and it was still working. And I remember that being just this like funny, long, hard day, but being like, but I found my phone and it still works. Um, yeah. And just syruping in general was always fun, hanging out in the sugar shack and um, those days were always great. It was kind of a mix. Sometimes we would go out just us when it was like flowing really heavily, and we'd be like anyone who was nearby we would take with us. But yeah, it was always kind of a mixed bag when we went out. But I actually wore this sweater today because this, and it's a ratty old sweater at this point, but I wear it. I have worn it at every farm job since Natick because I got this on a day where I had a particularly gross goat encounter. And somebody lent me this sweatshirt, and it's still my favorite farm sweatshirt from Natick. So that's another fond memory of mine.
Remember the
I don't know
livestock.
that she ever had a name, but there was like a mama pig at that time that I just loved. I just loved spending time with the pigs. And my least favorite was probably the turkeys and having to wrangle them. Those were always entertaining, but yeah, mama pig and me were cool. I mean, I don't know if I could attribute it to one person. I think everyone during that time was really influential to me. I mean, Linda Simpkins, obviously, and Trish, and even my fellow coworkers and teachers and students, Becca and Ethan and Lynn and Joan and Jean-Claude, like everyone that I spent time around made an impact on me during that time. And also just like the time I had with my students was something that still sticks with me. And I just found them incredibly inspiring and motivated. I had two students named Henry who um, just always kind of surprised and delighted me as young people that were just like so engaged and so in tune. And I just, yeah, they were great. The young people who end up there, I feel like might be, I feel like if they're an older age, they might be kind of searching for a purpose or looking for direction. And I think there's a huge opportunity for them to grow into their own leadership and their own skill set. I feel like it's a place for them to go and feel safe and feel like they belong. Just because it's such an open environment and a place where you can kind of grow into any talent, even if you're great at making posters, you might do that instead of spending a ton of time outside. Like, but you could also learn how to use tools and take care of animals and take care of the land. I feel like there's a lot of ways that a lot of young people can fit in. And if they take advantage of that opportunity, it's a really great safe space for them. Um, and I just think that when young people find that space for themselves, they just tend to really care about it afterward. That was something that really stuck with me is Natick just seemed to leave this impression on anyone who walked through there, and it was like this responsibility to take care of the place versus, like I said earlier, a place to just work or a place to show up, go at the end of your school day. It was like a place to come and like care about what you did. Yeah, I wish that every town in the world had a Natick community organic farm. I feel like it's a safe haven and it's a place to go and learn and take care of yourself and take care of others and take care of the land you work on. And um, I feel like there's something to benefit everyone there. And I wish that for everyone everywhere that they had access to a place like it because it's really special. I think the best thing I can hope for, and I really don't see how it could go any other way, honestly, is for the young people who have been impacted by their time there will carry the torch, will find themselves wanting to grow into a position there or to take over certain leadership roles and continue on with what it's already doing. But for the next generation of farmers or young people who want to get engaged and need some place to go. I know when Linda really took it on when she was younger, she was bringing in kids who were maybe kind of reckless and needed jobs and needed skill sets. And I feel like being able to offer that to your community is something that is really important and a place to sort of like channel people's skills when they don't know what they're doing with their lives, maybe. So I feel like it offers a special opportunity for people who might really need it. And I hope young people carry that on. I think I just want to thank Natick for leaving an impression on me and kind of creating a standard for what a farm environment can be like and um, what you can gain when you engage young people and how much power there is behind that. And yeah, I hope that I get to see everyone if I come to visit and just hope that everyone's doing well from that time. But yeah, just really thankful for the community and glad to see that it's still going strong. Means a lot to me. So yeah, just an opportunity to say thank you is awesome.